The day is August 31st. It's finally time. The critically acclaimed Shibuya Arc of the Jujutsu Kaisen storyline is getting screened in the form of an anime adaptation. I'm sure you must have heard this a million times before, but let me tell you this. This arc is what cements Jujutsu Kaisen as a modern-day shonen masterpiece. It's raw. It's utterly brutal, relentless, and simply breathtaking. Just pure, unadulterated hype. All the buildup from the events of the first season to the Jujutsu Kaisen movie and Gojo's past. All of it had been leading up to this Shibuya arc. So naturally, there are things that you must absolutely keep in mind if you want to enjoy this arc to the fullest. That's what we're going to discuss in today's video. It's about everything you need to know before watching the Shibuya arc. Though, before we get to the actual topic, I just want to press that like button and also subscribe to the channel. The channel is still in its baby phase. We need all the support we can get, and in return, tell us what kind of videos you'd like to watch. Let's do it. First, we need to understand the chronological order of events in Jujutsu Kaisen. We also talk about this in the Hidden Inventory Arc Analysis video. You should check it out if you haven't already. Now, the thing about Jujutsu Kaisen is that events aren't happening at random. There is a mysterious person who has been controlling everything from behind the scenes. We won't get into detail about this person's identity, as that will be a major spoiler, so let's just call them the Mystery Man. I know the manga readers already know who I'm talking about, but some of you anime-onlys may have figured it out as well. Though, forget the Mystery Man, let's talk about Gojo Satoru. He is unquestionably the single strongest sorcerer alive right now. The only one comparable to him in the entire story is the King of Curses himself. This is the level of pedigree we are talking about. No doubt Gojo Satoru is special. Imagine the balance of the world getting altered just because you were born. That's the sort of significance Gojo Satoru's existence holds. Born with both the Limitless and the Six Eyes, Gojo's very existence is enough to mess up just about anyone's plan, including the plans of our Mystery Man. But the beauty of the Hidden Inventory arc is that we now know how Gojo wasn't always the most invincible fella we know him to be. Back then, he was rough around the edges. Gojo couldn't Unlimited Void. He didn't have Infinity on autopilot. He couldn't use Hollow Purple either. Heck, he couldn't even use Red properly. Yeah, he may still have been among the strongest, but Gojo still had a long road ahead before he became the very pinnacle of Jujutsu. In a very real way, the fight with Toji is Gojo's coming-of-age story. Seriously, imagine if Toji had actually beheaded Gojo. That sounds like it could be a good what-if story. Though, speaking of what-ifs, I highly recommend checking out our What If Toji Killed Geto story. It'll be a fun little watch, and this scenario would rid the events of the Shibuya arc obsolete. Back to Toji vs Gojo. Gojo learned how to use the reverse curse technique after pretty much dying. His awakening is sort of like a true realization of his potential as the one who bears both the Limitless and the Six Eyes. Just by figuring out how to use reverse curse technique, Gojo was able to use Red, but he also went a step beyond that and used Hollow Purple on Toji. From there on out, it was only a matter of time. 1 year after this battle, Gojo already had Infinity on autopilot. His brain was always completely rejuvenated thanks to reverse curse technique. Forget the fact that he's the strongest. He is also always at his peak condition. Then, sometime in his adult life, Gojo developed his own domain expansion, the Unlimited Void. Then, there is Gojo's one and only best friend. We're talking about Geto. It's interesting to see how while the fight with Toji further completed Gojo, but in Geto's case, it further broke him. Yeah, Toji's interference completed Gojo as the strongest sorcerer, while it broke Geto and led him down a dark path. And the beauty of it all is that Gojo is fully capable of killing all the non-sorcerers, but he wouldn't do it, while Geto is fully resolved to kill all the non-sorcerers, yet he can't do it. The events of the Jujutsu Kaisen movie can be considered a direct sequel to the Hidden Inventory arc, so I'm telling you, if you want to experience Jujutsu Kaisen in all of its glory, watch the film before watching the Shibuya Arc. The film concludes Geto's story arc, and he pretty much also gets replaced by Yuta as the second strongest special grade cursed user. Unfortunately, as you may have noticed, we still see Geto in the first season. We see him quite a lot of times, but we know that it's not Geto, it's the Mystery Man. The thing is, this Mystery Man is in cahoots with the disaster level special grade cursed spirits like Mahito, Jogo, and Hanami. No, let me correct myself. He is not just in cahoots with them, he is their leader, which makes Mystery Man the primary antagonist of Jujutsu Kaisen. But wait, isn't Sukuna the main antagonist of Jujutsu Kaisen? Well, it depends on how you look at the series. If you think Gojo is the protagonist of the show, you can consider Sukuna the antagonist. However, that's not the case. Gojo and Geto were the protagonists of the Hidden Inventory arc. Yuta was the protagonist of Jujutsu Kaisen 0, and of course, Yuji and Megumi are the protagonists of the main Jujutsu Kaisen storyline. But the thing is, even if Gojo was the protagonist of the Hidden Inventory arc, Sukuna wasn't even in the picture back then. The main antagonist was Toji Fushiguro. This is why Sukuna is not the main antagonist of the story. It's the Mystery Man. It's him who has been controlling everything from behind the scenes, and unlike Geto, whose body he harbors, this man is ruthless, brutal, and utterly apathetic. Let me take you back to the 5th episode of the first season. Jogo is in a conversation with the Mystery Man. This is after Itadori Yuji's alleged death. What's the topic of the conversation though? Well, it's just Jogo ranting about how they need to make the curses the true beings of Earth. So they need to know how they can defeat the sorcerers. The Mystery Man explains that they will need to do 2 things. First, they'll have to render Satoru Gojo unable to fight, and second, they'll have to make Sukuna their ally. Sounds simple enough, but keep in mind that even Gojo thought that Itadori is really dead at this point. Jogo reminds him that the vessel is already dead, but the Mystery Man isn't so sure. Yeah, guys, this guy knew what he was talking about. Even when Gojo thought Yuji was dead, he knew that wasn't the case. Now, there's also the first condition. They have to render Gojo Satoru unable to fight, and that's exactly what the Shibuya arc is going to be about. It's their plan to seal the strongest sorcerer alive, but believe me as I say this, it doesn't matter what obvious plot point the manga readers have spoiled you on. You are still going to be blown away by the unreal pacing and insane epicness of this arc. It just doesn't hold back at all. So there you have it, folks. This was a quick overview of what's up with the Jujutsu Kaisen narrative. The curses need to seal Gojo Satoru, otherwise, anything they try to pull off will end in failure. But is it really possible for them to seal the strongest sorcerer alive? We're talking about a man who claims himself to be even stronger than Sukuna. I also need y'all's thoughts on this. Let's continue the discussion in the comments section. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. The channel is still in its early stages, and we need all the support we can get. In the next few days, there will be a video about why Itadori Yuji is the worst shonen protagonist. You guys can look forward to it. Well then, with that said, I'll see y'all in the next video. Ja ne.